Hello there, John Coturillo here, the counsellor of your listener. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Today I'm going to be discussing the topic of whether one's rational desire to be economically viable, that is to say, to make money, always overrides one's desire for control and power over others. Now, as per usual, I'm not giving advice here or telling you what to do or telling you what to believe. If you have concerns of any variety, seek professional advice. I'm just giving perspective on how the human mind works. Now, there is a common fallacy that people always undertake rational cost-benefit analysis when making decisions. Now, if people actually did that, they would always choose the most tangible and obvious benefits to them over anything superficial. So, when it comes to situations in which a particular leader or somebody in a position of particular authority could make a choice that either would gain them more money or gain them more power, more control over others, there's a fallacy that they would always choose the money because the money has obvious benefits. Money is a basic need in Western society. We can buy what we need with it. We can buy what we desire. It fulfills a lot of places in human life. And often when people suggest that power corrupts and that a particular authority is doing what they do only because they desire power, people often label them a conspiracy theorist, and they say, well, why would a person in power disadvantage all these people and lose money just to lie to people? Here's a truth that you're probably going to find hard to accept, but the desire for control over others and destruction is very real in some people, and some people will take significant risk to obtain it. Because human behavior is motivated more by desire than need. Think about a variety of different issues that occur in the world. Think about rape, for example. Okay, rape is horrible, obviously, but if you rape someone and you get caught, you're looking at a bad time in jail where you could potentially find yourself raped and harmed. If you want intimacy, you could very well obtain that in a legal and ethical, that is to say consensual way, and not end up hurting anyone and not get yourself hurt. So why would you commit rape? Because rape gives the rapist a sense of control. They get enjoyment from knowing that they are controlling somebody else in a way that the other person can't control. Now, if you're a good person, the number one reason not to rape is because it hurts people. If you're a good person, that should be your justification. But this is a case in point about how rationality is not the most powerful motivator for human behavior. Same with financial risk. Think about how many people try to start extravagant business ventures and lose significant sums of money, okay, especially when you're starting a large business venture that involves a lot of overheads, a lot of capital. The larger the risk you take, yes, there's a greater likelihood of success potentially, but there is also a greater likelihood of failure and loss. Think about people who gamble and lose a lot of money on gambling. Sure, they know that if they just suffered in withdrawing from the activity, they would save money and they wouldn't find themselves in the financial trouble in which they'd find themselves, and yet the desire to gamble often wins. Now, people often try to rebut this argument by using what's called Hanlon's razor. Now, in philosophy, a razor is essentially a heuristic. It's a mental shortcut that is used to make a decision about what's likely to be true and likely to be false in a given situation where no clear or definite answer exists. And Hanlon's razor states, never attribute to malice what could instead be attributed to stupidity. What that basically means is, if somebody caused mass destruction and you think it's because they intended to hurt people, you should just assume that it's due to incompetence. Again, the key term here is heuristic. Now, as I've said before, the human mind makes numerous cognitive errors in the way that it analyzes information because it is designed to make the simplest possible interpretations of information so that it can make quick determinations about what to do in a given situation. The human mind loves simple answers. If we apply Hanlon's razor, we could actually be falling subject to what we call just world thinking, or the just world fallacy, which is the idea, the assumption that if something bad happens to something, then there must have been a reason for it, that they were a bad person, or that they deserved it, or they caused they caused it to happen. And by extension, if something good happens to someone, then they must have deserved it. They must have done something to deserve that good event happening in their life. In reality, life is not that logical. Sometimes we can try our hardest and do everything the right way and still have bad things happen to us. Or we could be a horrible person and have great things happen to us. The world is not necessarily a logical place, but the mind wants to assume it is because that's how it stops itself from becoming overly anxious at the sheer number of possibilities about what could possibly be true in the world. And we like to try and instill in ourselves a sense of safety by saying, no, people aren't that evil. They wouldn't give up all this money that they could enjoy and all this benefit that they could enjoy for power. If you genuinely think that, read history. Understand how people's minds work. Because not only do people also seek power, they will also persuade all the people over which they hold power that them holding power means those people's security. And what they will also fool you into thinking is that if people don't believe in your holding power, that they're the enemy. They'll minimize your concerns and say, no, of course I won't misuse my power. I'm here to help you. And you see those people that want you to be able to make your own decisions, they don't really care about your freedom. They just don't want me to help you. They're your enemy. But as I've said in the past, it's not the person with a different opinion that's your enemy. It's the person who wants you to think that the person with a different opinion is your enemy, who is your enemy. Power corrupts. And when you relish in exercising control over other people, you become blind to how much harm you can cause. So thank you for joining me for this episode. Remember everyone, I'm not here to give you advice, I'm not here to tell you what to do or what to think. What you think and do is your responsibility. But in order to learn, we have to share perspectives. These are my perspectives on how the minds work. Whether you agree with me or not, I'd love to hear from you. If you have an idea for something you'd like to hear discussed, or if you'd like to join me on the program, please feel free to write to me. I'd love to discuss it with you. But until next time, take care.